This is your math gal, Julie Harland. Please visit my website at yourmathgal.com, where all of my videos are organized by topic. This is video 6 on solving equations with decimals, and we're going to work these two problems on this video. So here's the first one. So remember, there's two ways you could start this. You could simply go ahead and divide by 0.02, since that's a coefficient of x. And then you could do your long division over here, or however you want to do this problem using your rules for dividing with decimals. So some people just multiply the top and bottom by 100, moving this decimal 2 to the right, this decimal 2 to the right. That's multiplying the top and bottom by 100, and then they could do the long division. 2 goes into 11.3. Let's see. So we have 5 into 13, that's going to be 5 again. So we're going to have to add a 0 here because there's still a remainder. And 2, wait, no, that wasn't 5, that was 6. It's getting late, I'm not thinking. And 2 into 10 is 5. There we go. Okay, so we get x equals 5.65. All right, let's go on to the second way I explained in my previous video. So you might want to look at that as well. All right, so we have 0.02x equals 0.113. Instead of just going ahead and dividing with a decimal, if the coefficient of x is a decimal, let's multiply by something to move the decimal place to the right so it's a whole number. So if we do this, we can multiply both sides by 100. All right, so let's see. This is one approach. So that gives us, if we multiply this first one by 100, I'm going to get just 2x. So I'm distributing my 100 to both of these. And now the other number, when I multiply it by 100, I move the decimal 2 to the right as well, and I get 11.3. Now notice I kept this number with a decimal. You could have multiplied it by 1,000 and then you would have 20x equals 113. You could completely get rid of the decimals if you want. But for these kinds of problems, the most important part is that the coefficient of x is a whole number. And also it's easier to divide by 2 than 20. So now we can go over here, divide 2 into 11.3. Again, looks exactly like it did up there, right? See if I could do it right this time. 5.65. So we get x equals 5.65. All right, let's check our answer. All right, so we've got 0.02 times, we're going to plug in 5.65. So how do we do that? Well, we just think of 2 times 565. So we've got, here's our scratch work. 565 times 2, that's 1130, but it really was 5.65 and 0.02, so we'd have to move it in 3, we'd have to move the decimal in 4 places total to 0.113, so this is 0.113, and that's what we had on the other side as well. So that means our solution is 5.65. Okay, here's our next problem. Why don't you try that on your own? All right, so why don't you try this one on your own first? Okay, so if you want, we can just divide both sides by 1.1. Then we have to deal with this decimal point. You can move it at this point if you want and do your division, or you can go over here and move it, but eventually you'll get 11 into 36.3. So that is going to go in 3 times. And 3 more. So we'll get x equals 3.3. And of course, like I said, there's different ways you might do 3.63 divided by 1.1. You could see my videos on dividing with decimals to see alternate ways of doing that. Okay, so let's do it the other way I brought up. We can multiply both sides by 10 in the first place so we have a whole number in front of the x. Okay, so let's do that. We'll do 10 times 1.1x, and so then we also have to do the 10 times 3.63, and that will give us 11x equals 36.3. So this time, when you divide by 11, you already have a whole number in the denominator, and there you go. You could do that long division again, or get out a calculator. Of course, this original way you can just get out a calculator. You could do 3.63 divided 1.1 if you're allowed to use a calculator. Now, when we work with some problems where we have more than one term on each side, it'll be convenient actually to multiply by 100 if there's a number that has 2 places after the decimal point, or 1,000 if there's 3 places after the decimal point. But when you simply have one term on each side of the equation, I think the most important point might be to make sure that the coefficient of x is a whole number. So that's why I only multiply by 10. So let's check it. Oops. So we've got x equals 3.3. We're going to check that into 1.1. X equals 3.63. So we've got 1.1 times 3.3. All right, so we have to do 11 times 33, and that is 363, and then move the decimal in for each place. So it's 3.63. On the right, we've got 3.63, so it does check. So that means our solution was correct, 3.3. And by the way, I have a video for easy way to multiply by 11 the easy way. So that's how I was able to do 11 times 33 easily in my head. You might want to check those out. This is your Math Gal, Julie Harland. Please visit my website at yourmathgal.com, where all of my videos are organized by topic.